Do you suffer from FOMO? Fear of missing out on your favorite sporting event when you're away from home? With ipVanish VPN, you don't have to worry about streaming content over unsafe or restricted Wi-Fi to watch your favorite events. ipVanish VPN allows you unlimited and secure streams to all your favorite sporting events. Don't let unsafe Wi-Fi and ISP throttling stop you from cheering on your home team or favorite athletes. Get ipVanish VPN now.
Yes, everybody. Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. A very frosty, just for snow, London Stadium. Enough snow to dust the wheelie bins. But West Ham take on, look, a light dusting of snow. West Ham take on Nottingham Forest at the London Stadium, and it's live in what is definitely a relegation 6-pointer, isn't it? I listened to Gonzo this morning, and he made a point. You know, if we win today, we'll be 1 point behind them. But if we lose, we'll be 7 points behind Nottingham Forest, which is, to me, too far of a gap. And I'm not going to be sitting down as well because it's fucking cold on the arse as well. So we'll walk and talk today. Hope that's all right with everybody. If you're new around here, don't forget to like, comment, share. Don't forget to also check out our friends at ipVanish as well. There's a link in the description below for 83% off your VPNs. Absolute bargain. We all use ipVanish, and it works very, very well. We did Stat Attack this morning. Holly did a video about what we need. Can we actually get through this? And then Ben did a video at lunchtime about what Tatty could bring in terms of being under the hood. So calling that series Under the Hood. So where, you know, the new signings, Ben will do a deep dive into the stats behind them and see what they'll bring. Obviously, we welcome 2 new signings today. Or obviously, we welcome Pablo. He was on the bench of the Wolves game, but Pablo and Tatty both in the matchday squad today. Whether we'll see one of them start or both of them start, I do not know. I think we'll have to find out. I'll be surprised if both start, particularly with Tassi having only signed the other day. Pablo's had a couple of sessions since then, so you'd assume he would be someone who maybe could start. You know, there's a question mark about Lucas Paqueta, a question mark about Todibo's fitness, both suffering back injuries. So it could be a great opportunity. Obviously, you know, Pablo is banging form, playing in the Premier Liga in Portugal. 10 goals in 13 games. Tati not so prolific in Serie A for Lazio this year. Only a couple of goals, but last year he bagged 14 in the Serie A for Lazio. So they've got form, but then I remember a Mr. Scalamaca turning up after having scored 13 goals or 16 goals for Sassuolo before joining West Ham, and didn't really work out. So let's see what happens. Now I must apologise I'm trying to see if I can get the comments because I'm on my bloody Wilson won't start long. Well, yes, obviously yesterday was a day of news, really, wasn't it? Obviously the official signing of Valentin Castellanos, and then Shane Thomas's article saying that there's potential of Wilson leaving. I mean, to be fair, Wilson was never in his plans, really. The only reason he got in his plans was when Ollie Scars got injured for the Leeds game, and then he had a little bit of a run, and then Nuno reverted back to type. The ironic thing is I can see Callum Wilson going to play for someone like Leeds and scoring an absolute hatload, and being sort of second fiddle to Calvert-Lewin so yeah, that's the thing which slightly worries me, because we know he's you give Wilson a chance and he'll score, and that's the thing about Leeds and Calvert-Lewin is they're putting chances for him and he's scoring them, and it's just very, you can see it happening. You can see, I'm going to turn those off, it's pretty annoying now. There we go, it's better. I think we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Obviously, really 5 days into the January transfer window, reports linking us with a new goalkeeper. Bento must be good in the box. Bento box, get it? That's my joke for the day. Fabrizio Romano saying that we've put a bid in for a loan with option to buy for £10 million. I imagine that would include staying in the Premier League for one thing. But and people question that one. I think there is definitely a world where we bring in a new goalkeeper. I can see that. Areola is coming to the end of, he's 33, I think. I could see that being. I think he's been released. It's been reported. Oh, I don't know. Well, we haven't heard nothing about it yet, but I think with Areola, I can see that happening. He's 26. He's Brazilian international. There must be some sort of Mendes influence there. He wants to leave, apparently, 𝗪𝗪𝘀. Playing with Ronaldo and John Duran and Sane. He must be training and shooting practice must not be great for him, really. And maybe he's not going to get so much shooting practice in terms of the actual day-to-day. Plenty during the matches, that's for sure. Interesting goalkeeper as well. Bento, he seems to be a very good reactive shot stopper, a bit like Areola, really, but a bit of a younger model. But I think if a loan with obligation to buy, don't think that's a bad idea, particularly if we can get rid of maybe 𝗪𝗪𝘀. There's still question marks over Fabianski as well. He still hasn't recovered from his back injury. And then you've got the young lad Finn Herrick, who's in the beginning of his career. So I don't think that's a bad deal. We'll see what happens with that one. And then the centre half. I still think there might be legs in a move for maybe one of the Brazilian players have been linked to. If I could see that happening. In fact, we're trying to get Tim Vickery on the channel, talking about some of the Brazilian players, talking about Bento, talking about Paqueta, and obviously, the sort of the fallout from Guilherme going to Sporting Lisbon. So make sure you check that out. That'd be really cool coming up soon. But we obviously turn our attention to today's game. Nottingham Forest, a side, we did the stats attack this morning, side which I'm really in a lot of form. They're one place above us, but 4 points above us. And obviously a victory today for us would really drag them back into the relegation. I mean, they are in the relegation battle, but even more so. And 1 point's nothing. Well, it's really sort of 2 points, really, because they've got a superior goal difference to us. But then who hasn't? As we've conceded the most amount of goals in the Premier League so far this year. I just don't know what way. It really is for me. Today is the last must-win game. It's because as I said, if we lose, there'll be 7 points clear of us. Leeds are picking up points, draws here, draws there. They might have a few stumbles, but they're picking up points quite quickly. Not too sure. Who we got here? Good afternoon to you, Stefan. Hope you're well. I've got my. I was going to pack this coat. This is my coat I wore. I don't know if I mentioned it. I went to New York. I had this massive, I call it like my rude boy, roadman coat. It's like Zavetti, and I was going to put it away, and then I just checked the weather. And I thought, I'm not going to put it away just yet. And luckily, because I'm wearing it today, it's absolutely freezing. The big one, make or break, in my view. Where do we go thereafter? Don't know, Stefan, to be honest, mate. I think the outcome of today will have a big impact on everything, really. I think it really is a pivotal game. They talk about this is a pivotal game, And to be fair, we've had 3 pivotal games. We should have, and in quick succession, and we've lost. We haven't done as well as we wanted to, particularly the Wolves game. I mean, I think that was a critical. I mean, could you imagine if we'd beaten that one? We won that Wolves game, and then we win today. That would have put you straight back out the relegation zone, and then it's about sort of working on the squad to bring in new players to get us further up the table. We're not out the table. We're not out of the relegation zone yet, and that's the issue. And even after today, if we win, I reckon it'll be a draw today, which is probably the worst result for us, to be honest. Actually, the worst result will be losing, but you know what I mean. Then I think, talking to players, trying to bring players in. First thing they do is look at the table and look at the form guide, and we haven't won in ages. We're, if we draw, we're still with 4 points, out from safety. And some tough games coming up as well. So if you win, we're a point out. We're a point. Yes, we've got the cup game on Saturday. I think we'll see. We won't see a particularly strong side for that cup game. Personally speaking, I think the priority is Premier League survival, but it will give the opportunity for people like maybe Aguero Rodriguez, if he's still here, 𝗪𝗀𝘀 𝗪𝗧, the likes of 𝗪𝗏𝘀, maybe a couple of young lads, maybe 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗁, maybe Callum Marshall. These guys giving them opportunities to show what they can do, and I think that's the idea of the cup competitions, when you haven't really, although I'd love to go for the cup, as always, I just don't think this year, bigger priority for us. I mean, you could win the cup, but you could be in the championship. And for this club relies on being in the Premier League for its money. It relies on it financially. So yeah, it's a little bit, it's a bit squeaky bum time already. And I appreciate we're only in January, but we've over half the season gone now, and it's just not been good enough. And there's an opportunity today to really put something down and really show the fans what we're all about, and as a side. And we've heard reports of Nuno losing the dressing room and stuff like that. I made my thoughts quite clear on that yesterday. There's no denying that I think Nuno is a bit of a hard shell. I think he's got a hard shell. I think he's a bit of a hard taskmaster, and I think to be honest, under Potter particularly, I think a lot of the lads had it easy. And this guy's coming in and he's he's got people he likes and got people he doesn't like, and the people he doesn't like are quite clearly, they know they're not liked. The likes of JWP, people like that, they haven't had a sniff of football, and you can't please everyone when it comes to having a squad, particularly if you want a squad of quality where there's almost 2 players for each position. You need to be a bit of a bastard, and I think some of these guys aren't particularly what's the word, are a bit too mollycoddled, I think, and prima donnas, and I feel sorry for Nuno if that's the type of information that's been leaked out there. Darren says, is it snowing? It's in digga dagga digga dagga oi 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 oi. It was snowing, but I wouldn't say it was substantial. It was the lightest of dustings over London Stadium. It's bitter. It's very cold, but it's not cold enough. Just in a Magpie, good luck. It's just not cold enough for anything to settle. Let's go for a few more comments. Johnny, Happy New Year to you. Forest supporter, love your channel. Thank you very much. How on earth did 2 are where we are? I love one of those fans. I was one who loved Nuno. Thank you very much, Johnny. Much appreciated. I just don't know. It's been a weird season, hasn't it, so far? You've got some clubs who are outperforming. I think, to be honest, I think we all put Sunderland in our predictions for going down. I still thought they were going to have a rough time over the AFCONs. Hasn't seemed that yet. They seem to keep their momentum going despite having a ravaged squad. I just don't know. I think the unfortunate thing is, Johnny, I think one of us will go down. I think one of us will go down, and I tend to think it's whoever loses today, to be honest. I appreciate if we win, we'll only be a point behind you, but the momentum hopefully will start building. The fact is we've spent a lot of money. I think if you lose today, I think maybe 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗁 gone, and then what do they do? What do they do next? Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand what's. Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, I thought 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗁 was the perfect guy for you, and good cup results, Liverpool away and stuff like that. but he never. But it was. It just didn't. You had a little bounce. It was almost like a half bounce, wasn't it? Really. But appreciate you coming on. Right, what we got here? What we got? Does give you free food or drinks pre-match? Not really. I mean, we get a packed lunch. We get a little packed lunch, and we can, yes, that's probably all we get. I do provide my own. Man cannot live off sandwich alone. So I do provide my own. I've gone for chips and hummus today. I thought it'd be a bit different, rather than a bag of. It's still not chips, potato chips. It's crisp, but I thought we'll go some hummus today. Why not? Red pepper, if you're interested. Russ, I agree. If we lose tonight, it's over. This video is no good. Tell you this story, so I do apologise, Big Al. I think it's. I'll try and stay in one position. It's the older internet, isn't it? It's not great sometimes. He needs to go. That Edu from 𝗟𝗂, good luck. Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a big issue with Nuno, wasn't it? Was his Edu, and we sort of had that a little bit with Tim Steidten as well. In that we, certain managers suits that sort of, and it was quite interesting with Nuno. I think maybe because Nuno's relationship with Jorge Mendes, and his part, he liked to take control of transfers, and obviously Edu didn't. Edu wanted to take control, and obviously there was the issue with Magassa. He wanted Magassa, and Edu gave him Douglas Luiz, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, really. And you think someone like Nuno would be used to that sort of European style of sort of a sporting director. We had it here with Tim Steidten and Moyes. He was very much an old school manager, and I thought maybe Lopetegui, a bit more new school, but it didn't really work. And then Potter, nothing seems to have worked, and that's the worrying thing for me. It looks Baltic there, says Big Al. It is a bit nippy. I've got my big coat on. I've got my big coat on. I've got my roadman coat on, as my daughter calls it, because it is fucking freezing. And when do I ever wear a hat? Do you know what I mean? I know I've got no hair, but still, it's very, very cold. I doubt many hammers had hummus. Garlic bread is a push, indeed. I love the hummus. You've been in America too long. Chips instead of crisps. Yeah, potato chips. Be there later. I'll give you a wave. I'm sure I'll see you, Matthew. I can see what I mean. Good afternoon, Peter. That's a good result tonight. What? You want a good result tonight? Well, I bloody well hope so, mate. I bloody well hope we can get a good result tonight. Bloody well need it. As I said, if we win today with 1 point, 1 point behind Forest. If we lose with 7 points, I think that's it. Then I think if we lose today, that's it. I can't see the wood from the trees after that. And I think also, the same with Forest. I think if Forest lose today, I think that's really. That basically means I think Deitch will go. Will Nuno go if we lose today? And go for a Hail Mary? I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking about what would I do? Because whoever comes in is still going to have the same players. And for me, it's a motivation. I personally thought Nuno was quite good. I quite like listening to Nuno when he's like doing these press conferences and stuff like that. Seems to speak very well, but when that translates, and actually, I think again, I was listening to, I think it was Gonzo this morning, made a really good point talking about sort of his backroom staff, and he hasn't got his backroom staff, and that is an issue when you're sort of walking away. Say the manager says something and then walks off. Now, his backroom staff will know what he means and know how to maybe communicate that out. And then you've got the issue, and then he walks away, and you got Robbo and Potsy, who, bless them, won't really necessarily have an idea what he's actually talking about, because he just it's the same. It's like if you talk to your wife or whatever, or your partner, and you know what they're trying to say, they know what you're trying to say, just because you've been together so long. And I think that is an issue, and that might be an issue why some of the players have had their nose put out of joint a little bit by Nuno in terms of people who are in the Nuno camp, and people who aren't out in the Nuno camp. So people like James Ward-Prowse aren't in the Nuno camp, for example. Well, we got a few more comments. Russ, let's hope we get good results tonight. Cheering up a bit. Says Peter, I hope so. Leon, hope you're well, mate. What WWE tonight? Wish we did this at Upton Park. Would be a laugh. We are WWE fans. I don't know what WWE. I don't. Maybe not. Maybe not. Just mix up a little bit. Would you be able to do a blog of your pre, or before, and during a match, or would they? I've actually done a couple. I think it's starting to sleep again and going to the thing. We've actually done a few. I've actually done a couple before. They're on the members channel. Access to members. I did one. I think at the end of last season. So go and check that out because I did. I think it was it the Aston Villa game? Can't remember. Maybe mid-season before that. But a bit sort of a vlog of the day. What time I do stuff, what time I get here, all that type of stuff. And if you like that type of stuff, we can do another one and do another one in terms of. I mean, it's not really. There's nothing secretive about it. It's just I need to just remember to do it more than anything. And I think it's the same thing every game, so I don't want to do it too often because then people are going to get a bit bored of it. But yeah, we can definitely see if we can do something. But as I said, if you're a channel member, go back and check that out. What we've got here. Do we go with a 4-4-1-1 with 𝗪𝗧 behind Pablo tonight? I don't think both will start tonight. I think one will start. I think Pablo will start. I don't think 𝗪𝗧 will, because I mean the lad's only joined yesterday. I can see him be on the bench, but start. Fuck it, who knows? I mean, you can play. I mean, the thing is because of the way they're positioned, they could easily play two up front. Pablo's 6'1", I think, and 𝗪𝗧's 5'10". I love the way we call him 𝗪𝗧. His name's Valentin Castellanos, but we'll call him 𝗪𝗧. So it's quite ironic because you've got obviously potato salad as well in terms of 𝗪𝗪𝘀. So what else we got? Forest got Arsenal after your match at home. Nuno was actually pissed off in the press conference first half, and Wolves not doing their jobs right. Yeah, I mean he was. I mean the press conference against. I mean to be honest, the last couple they haven't put on YouTube at all. They've just sort of paid reference to them on the website. And it wasn't live; it was a premiere as well, so it already taken place. So I think there would have been. I think they were slightly worried about some of the questions some of the journalists would have said. So I think they put it up as a premiere because they were sort of. It was literally like 5 minutes to go. They put it up, so I think they were assuming a lot more tough questions about Nuno and his job. So I think that's why they didn't put it as a live. But it was. He looked angry. He looked pissed off, and I think same as we all were. He said he wanted to apologise to fans. As I said, he can put the players on the pitch. He can do. There's some things he can't do in terms of effort, in terms of and regardless of if he's a motivator or whatever. These guys are professional football players, and they've got a job to do, and they haven't been doing their job very well. When you look at the Finalysis ratings were very poor. And that's from fans rating, West Ham fans rating their own team. So that you would assume there's a little bit of favourable biasness of that as well. But no, the team have been performing well, and he was right to be angry, like we all were. We were all fuming, weren't we? Surely we need to see how the window turns out. We have shrewd strikers so far. We do. We know there's a requirement. He's said this, we need more. Said we need more. We're led to believe he is in charge of the transfers. Clever made that very clear in the rhetoric that's been put out to the ITKs in terms of the website as well, saying we were given a lot of options, and this was his man, and these were the two people that he wanted. I said today reports of Bento from Al-Nazir, the goalkeeper, on loan with obligation to buy afterwards. So I think, why not? I think, having another goalkeeper, because at the moment, Areola's got it easy. There's no way that Mads is upsetting him at the moment. And, Fabianski's still recovering from injury, and Finn's far too young. So there's no competition for Areola. I think if you've got a guy on with loan, and particularly with with an obligation to buy or option to buy afterwards. I think that is banging. I think that is a really, really good idea, just to pick him up a little bit. You know, he's not going to give it all his own way, which I think's great. And actually, you know, to be fair, he is coming to the end of his, you know, he's getting on a bit. What we got here? What we got here? Let's go for a few more questions. Leon, why don't you go live? Why don't you go live what I used to do back in the day? Why don't you go live what I used to do? Mate, yeah, that was a long time ago now. We don't do that now. It's moved on. It's all done by, no one gets into the ground till an hour and a half before, and then no one gets in. So it's all videos now, mate, and ads. Do you think we need to flood the midfield with how Forest play? I mean, that's clearly a massive issue, is the midfield. And, you know, Forest, well, you know, they got Anderson, they got, you know, Morgan White, rather. They've got some good players. And I think we've got the energy in terms of the three. Whether he plays a diamond, he brings one in and play like Paqueta comes in and plays and they play like a 1-2-1 sort of midfield. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know, but we've got to do something, and we've got to do something different because it's not working. Anyone heard of Bento? Yes, I've heard of Bento. Moose's question didn't help. I heard of the tin pies. What happened to Lauren? Was she banned because they found out she'd posted on? I have no idea. I mean, we worked with Lauren for a little bit. Then there was a transfer. We did that, not for us, but Hammer's chat. Yes, they got Lauren involved, and yeah, I haven't seen her since. I haven't even seen any questions. And maybe I don't know what happened. She moved. She started doing a few bits with Gio on Hammer's chat. Then it all went quiet. I might ask him what happened with Lauren, because I mean, we got questions. She would pick questions from our comments and put them into the press conference. And I know she did the same with Hammer's chat as well. So yeah, maybe she got. Well, actually, what happens is sometimes journalists get reappointed to different grounds. So whether she might have moved or whatever, so they put her in a different ground. We had J.T. Do you remember J.T.? He was doing it before Lauren, and he then became BBC cricket correspondent. So they sort of changed job titles quite a bit. This channel did pinch. We didn't pinch Irish Tory from Hammer's chat. What anyone thinks of Wilson taking on momentum whenever they play? Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. Will your fans be protesting tonight? Yeah, they'll be doing the red card protest. That's the new one now. Could recoil in Devonshire and Mark Noble, I've heard him. Russie, will it be a happy chat after the game? Says Al. We'll see. What are those lists of names behind you? They are the lists of all the international Hammer groups. I'll go and show you. They're the international Irons groups. So obviously we've got fan groups all over the world. You know, Dubai Hammers and the Israeli Hammers, and what else we got there? Vancouver Hammers. We've got us in Texas, West Ham supporters, Atlanta Ironworks, Fresno Irons, Holy City, Prague, Brody Hammers. So that's all their names, all on those things there, and some over there as well. So the WHU support group crew, Switzerland. I beat for Hammers. They sound like a bunch of fun. Obviously, got the Hawaiian Hammers, the Dundee Hammers, the West London Hammers. Is that an international group? Transpennines, Claret and Blue Bubble, East End Irons. That's just us, isn't it? Brilliant. Maltese, Maltese Hammers, Toronto, Rhode Island, and I imagine over here we've got some more. But that's what they're all on there. They're all the groups. Chicago, NYC Hammers, the Barra Hammers. That must be Bahama Hammers. Yeah. Indy Irons, Nickel City Irons, Huntington Beach Hammers, the West Ham Malaysian Supporters Group, the Dubai Hammers, the West Ham Fan Club, Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, good fun. We are massive everywhere we go, don't forget. We are massive, and we have all these groups. Why do they not have the West Ham? Yeah, why not have West? Yeah, they don't have the. Well, they could if they put all the all the West Ham YouTube things on there. They'd have to go around the fucking building. There's about 20 of us, isn't there? In fact, I remember when we did the 24 hours live stream for Iron Sporting Food Banks. Oh, what was it? A couple of years ago. We thought, shit, we better we have to reach out to, it was like, okay, well, 1 hour, and it was just so easy because literally it was like, well, okay, we've got this one and this one and this one and this one. We've got Jake and then we've got James and then there's Jo and there's Nicky and it just went on it was so easy. There was so many of them. There's about 15 channels, isn't there? We'd have the most. Someone said if we got relegated, we'd have the most YouTube channels, fans channels in the Championship. Probably all made it together, probably. What we got here? It's sleeting. Far too easy questions, no challenging questions. Never are there, mate, because I think there never are. There never are. But don't forget, all that's published is the stuff that's in the public domain. They do have a sort of behind closed doors sort of press conference afterwards, which gets released later, which tends to be a little bit more closer to the bone. But yeah, I think the questions are always a bit naff anyway, to be fair. That's why I quite like at least Lauren's questions, because at least they were asked by the fans rather than necessarily by the media. But yeah, I haven't seen her about on Amherst Chat. I might drop Gia a text. Russ, I see us winning tonight, but for any reason we lose and lose badly, I see the fans erupting. Something like that happened against Burnley. It did. And it had a little bit the same thing at Forest at Wolves game, when it went 3-0 half time. Not very good at all. It's not going to be easy to win at all today. You've got to look at the quality that Forest have got. Rather, the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White, the likes of Anderson, the likes of Igor up front. They've got some good players, and so have we. But it just hasn't been clicking. It hasn't been clicking, honestly, for about 2 seasons, really. And I think we've had a couple of seasons where the bottom 3 have been so bad that you're sort of almost guaranteed to not go down because they've been so bad. That's not the case this year. The 3 promoted sides, yes, Burnley are in that group, but Leeds are picking up points. I know they're only a couple of places above us, but they're a few points away from us. And obviously Sunderland, I don't think anyone thought Sunderland were going to do what they did. So there's always one surprise, but this will be the first year that only one promoted side will go down. That'll be Burnley, and probably us or Forest. What have we got here? Let's go a few more questions. Right, do we need to protest regarding the hierarchy? The fans need to up their game. It's up to them, isn't it? Danny, asking to you. Lose and we're down today. Any chance with the upcoming fixtures if we win tonight? Mate, if you win tonight, we're a point behind Forest. And anything can happen because Forest are in decline as well. To be fair, I think with us, I think if we lose, I think that's it. I really think that's it. We'd then be 7 points away from Forest, similar, away from Leeds as well. And yes, you could lose. Other teams could lose points and you could win them, but we're not even winning these games that we're meant to be winning. We've had 2 must-win games already, which we haven't won. And now this is the 3rd must-win game, which I don't think we're going to win. Which I think we might win. There have to be some mergers of channels. Will the music you choose to not have any emotional attachment to it? Like really, I mean, usually in night games it's usually a bit easier. I'll be honest, because we usually get a DJ in. So like might be Tony Perry or something like that. So they do a lot of heavy lifting. I mean, I've always said it. Regardless of what music or anything's played. The fans would always turn up at the beginning. Bubbles have always been sung at the beginning. And then it's up to the players. If they come out of the traps and really have a go and maybe get an early goal or a couple of early chances, the fans will be with them. The fans will go with them. You don't need a lot here to get the fans behind you. The fans want to get behind the team. They're fans of the team. I think it's just... I just think we haven't seen enough, and it's a 2-way process. It's always been a 2-way process. But for some reason, I don't know. But for some reason, it's just, there's this assumption that, we're all quiet. This place I've heard this place absolutely rocking. And I heard Upton Park being dead. I think the issue for me now is that home advantage, and I think Leeds and I think Forest have got home advantages at City Ground and Ellen Road. My brother was saying the same thing. We haven't got that. If it was at Upton Park and the three of us, then I thought we'd all stand an equal chance. But I think at the moment, this place ain't rocking, but it can rock. But they tend to be, those European games particularly. We've got here. Our fourth must-win game with a spin. Can we even do 25%? If we're losing at half-time, can you play I predict you're right? No. Leeds will be hoping for a Forest win. Keep warm, Russie. I'm absolutely bricking about the game today. Just hope Nuno has a go. Yeah, indeed, Mark. Indeed, my friends. West Ham are going down, says Mark Swift. I think if we lose today, I think we are. Bar a miracle. Not saying it can't happen. Really, statistically, the bottom three at Christmas has never gone. All three haven't gone down ever. That can change. Stats can change, but the stats suggest that the bottom three, as they stand at Christmas, aren't the bottom three that go down. That's what Alex was saying in his TikTok. And the team that finished 18th, was it 60% of the chance, 60% of the time, didn't go down at Christmas? Or something like that. Check out Alex's TikTok. You're overestimating the crowd, mate, says Obsidian. 50% away fans or tourists, unfortunately. Yeah, but regardless of that, I think Obsidian, I think I can't speak, I can't be critical of tourist fans, because I've been a tourist fan. I've gone to see Barcelona, I've gone to see, I've gone to the Nou Camp, I've gone to Munich, I've gone to the MLS. I have been a tourist fan, so I can't criticise tourist fans at all, because that would be hypocritical of me. And I know many others have gone to Germany and whatnot to watch games. But the 50% that are there, if they're singing, the tourists, they'll be joining in, because it's all part, and it is, and maybe not to the extent, but you feel captivated by it. I remember at the Nou Camp, I was chanting along. I had no idea what the words were, but you could pick up the tune, and everyone was chanting. I've been to away game, I've been to MLS games, and the same thing. I had no idea it was going down, but you sort of get enthralled in it all. But the 50% are, if they are, and it is not 50%, but I know what you mean. If the team, and as I've said it a million times, I'm going to get a T-shirt printed. If I go to a comedy club and the comedian's shit, I'm not going to laugh for the sake of it because I'm at a comedy club. That's the same at football. I want to be entertained. If I don't see what I'm wanting on the pitch, I ain't going to cheer. I'm not a maniac. Even though I support the club, if they're not playing well and they're not, and they're missing passes, I'm not going to just cheer for the sake of it. I cheer for good play. I cheer for good passing, and it doesn't take a lot. A Freddie Potts tackle. That can get a frame. I remember sometimes at Upton Park when it was absolutely, the atmosphere was appalling. I think sometimes we have rose-tinted glasses of what Upton Park was like. Sometimes it was fucking awful. And sometimes it would be, I remember it would be absolutely dead. And the thing that would bring the atmosphere back up would be a Julian Dix tackle or something like that. I remember some shit nights at Upton Park. I remember one, Leeds 3-0, losing 3-0 at Leeds when we had Leeds then. We had Mike Newell and Steve Jones up front. Absolutely appalling game. Remember another one, Aston Villa 1-1. Aston Villa scored in the first minute, we scored in the 89th, or we scored in the first and they scored in the 89th. Very poor. Very poor. But I think if you're not seeing it on the pitch, you're not going to chant. Simple. It's such a simple thing. What we got here? One team often gets out while another spots. Indeed, we used to go down regularly. at the Upton Park. Heard on TalkSport you are looking at selling Bowen while he's worse rather than sell. It wouldn't surprise me. It would be 7 point. Yep, if you lose that, I totally agree. 1, 2, yeah, done that one. I can see selling. I can see selling Bowen. If we lose tonight, Opta has a 79% likely to go down, and I won't miss the Premier League. All the hype mercenaries and tourist fans. When we go down, at least we might win a few games. I'm still saying positive. So, Michael, I believe there'll be a response tonight. Please don't play 𝗪𝘁 and Rodriguez. Give the youth a chance. See, and I think for us, I've always think sometimes we see it simplistically as fans. Oh, just throw in throw in da-da-da-da-da. I don't think da-da-da-da is good enough. I don't think this one's good enough. I think, particularly the academy, I think sometimes because they're part of the academy, they're like brilliant. We've got a lot, and I say it again all the time, 97% of players in Premier League academy sides never play 1 minute of Premier League football. We've done well this season. We've given guys like 𝗪𝗻𝘃 starting, not starting berth, but he's had a lot of minutes. Kante's had some minutes. We've done quite well, statistically, in terms of bringing in the youth team. You go one of two ways, don't you? You go experience or you go youthful exuberance. And I think if maybe a manager who isn't so risk adverse would go for youthful exuberance, but I don't think he would. I don't think he'd throw in Mohamed Kante tonight. And for me, Mohamed Kante's not ready to play. He's not good enough yet. Not saying he won't be, but he's not ready yet. Gives ball away far too much in 21s. Too many fouls in 21s. And you've got to think, Premier League, you've got to be that much better. Yes. We've got here, Russ. I see us getting up to 6 signings. That'd be lovely. Since Bowen was so poor, I could believe he knows he's off. Never seen Bowen that poor or unmotivated. I think the trouble is, I think we assume there's lack of motivation. I don't think these are motivated. I think they're pissed off. I think they're angry. I think when it's not working, the chips and down. Some people look like they come out fighting. Some people go into themselves. I think at the moment we've got a lot of players who go into themselves rather than come out fighting. That's the issue for me. I want players who are going to be fighting. We're going to come out, balls out and go for it. I just don't think we've got enough players of that. I don't think you have enough players of that generally in the Premier League now. You get a lot of prima donnas, a lot of guys who are mollycoddled a little bit, and when it's not going their way, they throw their toys at the Prem. And I think that's kind of an issue. We don't forget we had that situation, Wolves in the Cup, wasn't it, when Bowen went over to the fans and was a bit shouting at them and stuff like that, and they need us. The players need the fans, and I just don't think there's. I think with the exception of maybe Freddie Potts, maybe Bowen to some extent, there's no connection. Maybe Ollie Styles as well. There's the connection between the fans and the players. I haven't felt there hasn't been that strong connection. We'd all stand behind. Most of us stand by like Mark Noble when he was playing, or Declan Rice when he was playing, and I think eventually we'll do that with Freddie, but I just don't feel like we've got players up for the fight. That's the issue for me. I don't think we've got players who are up for the fight. A few more of them I'm going to have to go because I need a wee. What we've got here? Kante might play against QPR. Yes. Do you think any chance Bowen leaves with January Tilbury's World Cup chances? No. He's got the England squad already without being in the. That was the issue I thought with 𝗪𝗀𝘀. One of the reasons he left because he wanted to make sure he's in the World Cup squad. He was in the World Cup squad already. Skinkhead's getting fucking injured. Do you see Bowen or Paqueta going after 50 minutes? No. I don't see either of them going. I think there's. I see. Those strikers. I think you've sort of. If you take out, we've got rid of 𝗪𝗀𝘀, albeit on loan. We got rid of 𝗪𝗻𝘃, 2 for 2. Although he did say about rebalancing the squad, which is quite interesting. More leaders needed, indeed. Tati plays in Paqueta's position. Always a second striker, always played up striker on his own, so there's plenty of options there for him. We have a leader in a Mexican captain. We do, but unfortunately, due to shit negotiations, there's no recall clause included, so cost you. Fenerbahce won't get rid of him because he's playing fucking well. But also, trouble with being a with that particular Mexican captain is he'll be suspended for half a dozen games already this season, and that's the issue as well. You've got to be on the pitch. I don't mind Bowen biting back at fans, prefer that to apathy. Yeah, no, fair enough. Bowen needs to get up the captaincy. I don't think he will, though. It's not a case of him, it's a case of we've got a case of Nuno getting it to him. Bowen won't go to the World Cup. I think he will do. Recall, add a fullback. We can't recall Älv:äs. As I said, we can't. It's he's got, the only way we can recall him is Fenerbahce agree to it, and we probably pay them a bit of money. That's what we did with James Ward-Prowse with Forest. They were happy to have him back, and I think we had to pay some money to release them out of contract. So that's not going to happen. So we need to move that out of our vernacular. We don't have a captain in the team, so he stays captain because no one loves West Ham like he does. Well, I think we do have a captain in the team, but I think he's only 21, and that's Freddie Potts. I think he'll be West Ham captain one day. I don't think Bowen is worth that much at the moment. Had a terrible season so far. Yeah, you could say maybe, I think the whole side's had a terrible season so far. You reckon we will sign Sockin from the fullback, isn't he? I mean, it's all gone a bit quiet on that front. There was a lot of noise about it, and it went quiet. And I don't know whether that's on the players' side or whether it's on West Ham's side. There's plenty of players we've been linked to. As I said, I think we've been linked to about 80 already this transfer window. We've signed 2, which is actually a better hit rate than usual for us, percentage-wise. One day per Potts, maybe next year, but he still has a lot to do. But I think the fact is, until Bowen either leaves or Bowen isn't a regular first-team player, then he'll be captain, because you won't drop, they won't drop the captaincy off a player who's still playing there. They just won't. It wouldn't be good for his mental capacity, I'd say. Have a nice cup of tea. We would have lived tonight. We need those lads to step up, get that victory. Let's bloody well hope so. My friend Paul. Potts will be the new Noble. Don't know if he can reach Rice. Do you know what though? I was thinking about that. I think I know. The trouble is, there's 2 stages. There's a stage that you got to think when Potts has broken into the first team, is been a couple of years further down the line than when Declan Rice did it. But I think Potts has got more in his locker than Rice had when he broke into the side. But the trouble is they're sort of, he broke in when Potts was 2021, where Rice broke in when he was sort of 18, 19, so a little bit further down the line. But I think Potts could be utilised in that as a Declan Rice type role as well, personally. Russ, heading to my route now. Have a good day. Enjoy the match as much as you can. I'll try to. Current squad. Fernandes looks like captain until he does, but he'll be at fucking Real Madrid in probably about 18 months' time, won't he? Let's be honest. He'll be in. He's too much of a good player, I think, to stay at West Ham. Anyway, I'm going to shoot. We'll have the starting 11 show in a bit, and then Anton and Ben will be doing the watch along, and hopefully I'll be having a chat with Alex afterwards later on. Yes, Richard, my friend from South Africa, Richard Faison is just turned up. Fuck off. Anyway, I will see you guys later. I'm going to get warm. I'm going to go for poo. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and all that jazz. Take care.